Day 16. Give it up for day 16. Alright, starting us off, we have The Great Yellow River by Zhao Ziyong from Brendan. Now, this was my first exposure to Chinese music, and it was an undeniably interesting experience in that it was an opera, I think. I don't speak Mandarin, so I don't know. It felt like an opera. It felt very operatic at times, and the choice of instruments, the choice of composition for it, I think was good. It worked well with it. And despite my lack of Mandarin knowledge, I do think that the performances conveyed pretty well the tone and feeling of each piece. All in all, I don't really know how to really properly dig in and review this album, considering it's just so far away from the kind of things I've listened to in the past. But it was not an unpleasant departure on that note. I thought it was interesting, certainly interesting, and technically impressive, and a nice listen, just definitely not a casual one, which I won't knock it for that. I'm going to say a 7. I think a 7, as difficult as it is to put a number to this, I think it's a 7. Next up we have Clouds, the MIXTAPE by NF from Nick. And I like NF. I think I've established, I've learned this. I like his flow, I like his lyrics, I like his song construction. I just think that he puts a lot of work into it, and it feels like you can tell. Songs are interesting, well made, well produced, convey emotions, convey a good story that captivates, and everything just feels so meticulously put together and thought through that it pays off. I think it's all good all around. Instruments good, beats good, composition good, flow good, bars good, tone good. It's good all around, really. I don't remember what the other NF one we listened to was. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I did prefer the other one, the Search. Yes, I preferred the Search to Clouds, but I think that's more so just because the Search was a bit more of a cohesive project. But Clouds was good. It was still good. Good's the word I'm going to use. Good. I keep saying good because it's good. It's a 7.5. It's good. Then we got Wild Heart by Current Joys from Xavier. And this was really nice. This was a really nice piece of classic Western shoegaze, I guess. Just chill, spaced out, effect pedals all over the place, kind of dissociated indie. And I like that. And no offense to Evan here, but it's nice to have a counterpoint to a lot of the Japanese shoegaze that we've had in this music club. And, I think they did a really good job. I thought it was really enjoyable, really pleasant. And honestly, despite me not having a ton of exposure to Western shoegaze, it's one of the better albums I've heard in that genre. I genuinely really enjoyed it. I thought every part of it was interesting and just really well constructed, really well crafted walls of sound all throughout this album. So, kind of wish I had a little more to say about it beyond I thought it was really solid. I really enjoyed it, and it's from a genre that I typically enjoy. So, I'm gonna give it an 8.5. I liked it. I just don't have a lot of, specific points or a lot of specific highlights. I'm going to keep going, actually. There weren't a lot of specific highlights. There weren't any lowlights either, though. It was just kind of mellow throughout. You know, maybe this album could have benefited from some peaks and troughs, if you will. But I don't really think it needed it either. It was just a pretty consistent, good vibe, good listen, and pretty easy to digest, all things considered. So having said all that, it's still an 8.5. That hasn't changed. So Wild Heart 8.5. Then for today, we had Eastbound and Down by Jerry Lewis, submitted by Kyle. It's good. It's good. I've seen Smokey and the Bandit. It's a good film. And this is at least partially the soundtrack to it. And it's a good soundtrack. I mean, it's kind of classic country, and I certainly prefer it to the more modern interpretations of country music. Fun songs, fun songwriting, fun performances all throughout. Just a very jaunty and jolly time. Then you get to the back half, where you have Jerry kind of doing his own thing, kind of disconnected from Smokey and the Bandit. And I think he does a great job, too. I think I can't even really criticize it for lacking the cohesion of the first half. The first half's a movie soundtrack, you know? And so the back half, the B-side, if you will, is probably just, you know, some loose cuts he had laying around. But they were enjoyable. I particularly liked Framed. Framed, I thought, was a fun blues. Is it blues? Is it classic rock? Not like classic rock, but like Buddy Holly, Chuck Berry. That's who I'm thinking of. That kind of rock. I thought it was a good bit of that. So all things considered, I enjoyed it. Still just not the hugest fan. Like classic country, I certainly prefer to modern, but it's still not my go-to. So Eastbound and Down, let's give her a 7. And I'm squeaking this one in right under the wire. So I'll see you all tomorrow.